Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English in Minutes 2.0. I am Emma, your host for today. If you are new here, I would like to tell you that we upload a new English learning video every day on our channel to help you improve your English faster. In today's episode, you will test and improve your English speaking and listening skills through a complete beginner to advanced English masterclass. We will begin with simple daily life sentences and gradually move toward more natural, detailed, and advanced English. You will listen carefully, answer questions, repeat useful expressions, complete speaking challenges, and practice expressing your thoughts clearly and confidently. This lesson will help you discover your current English speaking level while also helping you improve step by step. We will practice common situations from daily life, including introducing yourself, talking about routines, describing people and places, making plans, sharing past experiences, expressing opinions, solving everyday problems, and handling more advanced conversations. As the lesson continues, the questions and speaking exercises will slowly become more challenging. Do not worry if you cannot answer everything immediately. Listen carefully, pause when you need more time, and try to answer aloud using complete sentences. The purpose is not to be perfect. The purpose is to challenge yourself, notice your strengths, identify the areas you need to improve, and become more comfortable speaking English. By the end of this video, you will have practiced English from beginner to advanced level, learned useful vocabulary and natural sentence patterns, improved your listening comprehension, and gained more confidence in real-life English conversations. I will also share model answers, pronunciation guidance, fluency tips, and practical examples to help you speak more naturally. Before we start the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon if you want more helpful English learning episodes like this. So, grab a pen and paper, get ready to listen, think, and speak, and let's test your English speaking skills today. Let us begin with the simplest level and slowly build your confidence. At this stage, your goal is not to use difficult vocabulary or long sentences. Your goal is to understand a clear question and respond with a complete, correct, and natural answer. I will ask you a question, give you a little time to think, and then share a model answer. Please say your answer aloud before you listen to mine. Speaking aloud is important because knowing an answer silently is not the same as being able to say it naturally. Here is your first question. What is your name? Answer in a complete sentence. You can say, "My name is Michael," or "I'm Emily." Both answers are correct and natural. Now, repeat this sentence after me. My name is Emma. Good. Let us make the answer slightly longer. You can say, "My name is Emma, and I am happy to be here." Repeat that sentence. My name is Emma, and I am happy to be here. This simple extension helps you practice connecting two ideas with the word and. Now, answer this question. Where are you from? Think about your city, state, or hometown and answer aloud. A simple answer is, I am from Texas. You may also say, I'm from Chicago. Or, I come from a small town near Boston. Listen to the difference. I am from Texas gives the name of your state. I am from Chicago gives the name of your city. I come from a small town near Boston gives a little more information. Now, create your own sentence. And say it clearly. Excellent. Let us practice another common question. Where do you live? Be careful because where are you from and where do you live do not always have the same answer. You may be from one place but currently live in another place. For example, you can say, I am from Denver, but I live in Seattle. Repeat that sentence slowly. I am from Denver, but I live in Seattle. Now, say it at a natural speed. I am from Denver, but I live in Seattle. The word but connects two different or contrasting facts. Now, I want you to introduce yourself using 3 complete sentences. Say your name, where you are from, and where you live. Take a moment and speak aloud. A model answer could be, "My name is Daniel. I am from Ohio, and I live in Cleveland. I enjoy learning English in my free time." Notice that this answer is still easy, but it sounds complete and confident. Try your introduction one more time, and this time speak without stopping between every word. Very good. Let us move to daily routines. Listen carefully to this question. What time do you usually wake up? Answer with a complete sentence. You can say, "I usually wake up at 7 o'clock." The word usually tells us that this happens on most days. Repeat. I usually wake up at 7 o'clock. Now, change the time and make the sentence true for you. You may say, I usually wake up at 6:30, or I usually wake up around 8. The word around means the time is not exact. What do you do after you wake up? Think about the first 2 or 3 things you normally do in the morning. A basic answer might be, I wash my face and brush my teeth. A longer answer could be, after I wake up, I drink some water, wash my face, and brush my teeth. Repeat the longer answer. After I wake up, I drink some water, wash my face, and brush my teeth. This sentence uses a clear sequence. It tells the listener what happens first and what happens next. Now, describe your complete morning routine in 4 or 5 sentences. You can talk about waking up, getting ready, eating breakfast, and beginning work or school. Speak now. Here is one possible answer. I usually wake up at 7 in the morning. First, I make my bed and open the curtains. Then I wash my face, take a shower, and get dressed. After that, I eat breakfast and check my phone. I normally leave home at 8:30. Listen again to the sequence words. First, then, after that, and normally. These expressions make your answer easier to follow. Let us test your listening. I will read a short description only once at first. Listen for the important details. Anna wakes up at 6:30 every weekday. She takes a quick shower, makes a cup of coffee, and prepares a turkey sandwich for lunch. She leaves her apartment at 7:45 and takes the bus to work. Now, answer this question aloud. What time does Anna wake up? The answer is, she wakes up at 6:30. How does she travel to work? She takes the bus to work. What does she prepare for lunch? She prepares a turkey sandwich for lunch. Now, I will read the description again. This time, repeat each idea in your own words. Anna wakes up at 6:30 every weekday. You can say, Anna gets up at 6:30 from Monday to Friday. She takes a quick shower, makes a cup of coffee, and prepares a turkey sandwich for lunch. You can say, she showers quickly, drinks coffee, and makes her lunch. She leaves her apartment at 7:45 and takes the bus to work. You can say, she goes out at 7:45 and travels to work by bus. This kind of paraphrasing is an excellent way to test whether you truly understand what you hear. Now, let us practice talking about likes and dislikes. What food do you like? A simple answer is, I like pizza. A stronger answer is, I really like pizza because it is delicious and easy to share. Repeat, I really like pizza because it is delicious and easy to share. The word because gives a reason and makes your answer more interesting. What food do you dislike? You can say, I do not like very greasy food because it makes me feel uncomfortable. You may also use the shorter form, don't. Listen, I don't like very greasy food because it makes me feel uncomfortable. Both forms are correct. Do not sounds slightly more formal or emphatic, while don't is more common in everyday speech. Now, answer both questions together. Tell me one food you like and one food you dislike. And explain why. Speak for at least 3 sentences. A model answer could be, I love homemade pasta because it is warm, filling, and full of flavor. I especially enjoy it with tomato sauce and vegetables. However, I do not like extremely salty food because it makes me thirsty. Notice the word however. It helps introduce a contrasting idea. Let us continue with free time activities. What do you like to do in your free time? You may say, I like watching movies. I enjoy reading books. Or, I spend my free time with my family. All of these are natural. Remember that after enjoy, we normally use a verb ending in ine. We say, I enjoy reading, not, I enjoy to read. Repeat these examples. I enjoy listening to music. I enjoy cooking for my family. I enjoy walking in the evening. Now, give a longer answer. Try to say what you do, how often you do it, and why you enjoy it. Speak now. Here is a model answer. In my free time, I enjoy watching documentaries and listening to podcasts. I usually do these activities in the evening after dinner. They help me relax, and I often learn something new. This answer includes the activity, the time, and the reason. Let us test your ability to ask questions. Imagine that you meet someone for the first time. You want to know about that person's hobbies. What question can you ask? You can ask, what do you like to do in your free time? You can also ask, what are your hobbies? Or, how do you usually spend your weekends? Repeat each question naturally. What do you like to do in your free time? What are your hobbies? How do you usually spend your weekends? Now, imagine that the person answers, I like hiking and taking photographs. How can you continue the conversation? You could ask, how often do you go hiking? You could say, that sounds interesting. Where do you usually go? You could also ask, what kind of photographs do you take? A good conversation does not end after one answer. Strong speakers listen carefully and ask a connected follow-up question. Let us practice a short daily life conversation. Listen first. Hi, how are you today? I'm doing well, thank you. How about you? I'm fine, but I'm a little tired. Did you sleep well last night? Not really. I went to bed very late. Now, listen again and repeat each sentence after me. Hi, how are you today? I'm doing well, thank you. How about you? I'm fine, but I'm a little tired. Did you sleep well last night? Not really. I went to bed very late. Now, I will ask you similar questions, and you should answer them yourself. How are you feeling today? Why do you feel that way? Did you sleep well last night? What time did you go to bed? Try to connect your answers. For example, I feel energetic today because I slept well last night. I went to bed at about 10:30, so I had enough rest. Or you might say, I feel a little tired because I stayed up late. I went to bed after midnight, and I had to wake up early. Now, we will practice describing your home. Where do you live? In a house or an apartment? A simple answer is, I live in an apartment. Add more information. You can say, I live in a small apartment with my family. Now, describe the number of rooms. There are 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, and 1 bathroom. Repeat, there are 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, and 1 bathroom. What is your favorite room in your home? Explain your choice. A model answer is, my favorite room is the living room because it is bright and comfortable. My family spends time there in the evening, and we often talk or watch television together. Notice that the answer does more than name the room. It describes the room, and explains what happens there. Now, imagine that you are describing your bedroom. Use location words such as next to, under, above, in front of, and between. Listen to this example. My bed is next to the window. There is a small table beside the bed, and my phone charger is on the table. A rug is under the bed, and there is a picture above my desk. My chair is between the desk and the closet. Now, describe your own room. Try to use at least 3 location words. Speak slowly and clearly. Let us test your listening again. David lives in a small house near downtown Portland. The house has 2 bedrooms and a little yard behind it. His favorite place is the kitchen because he loves cooking. Every Sunday, he invites his brother for lunch, and they prepare a meal together. Now, answer the questions. Where does David live? He lives in a small house near downtown Portland. What is behind the house? A little yard is behind the house. Why does he like the kitchen? He likes it because he loves cooking. Who visits him on Sundays? His brother visits him on Sundays. Now, summarize the information in your own words. You might say, David has a small home close to downtown Portland. It has 2 bedrooms and a yard in the back. He enjoys spending time in the kitchen because cooking is one of his favorite activities. On Sundays, he and his brother make lunch together. Your summary does not have to copy the original sentences. It only needs to communicate the same meaning clearly. Now, let us practice shopping English. Imagine that you are in a clothing store and you need help. What can you say to an employee? You can say, "Excuse me, could you help me?" This is more polite than simply saying, "Help me." Repeat, "Excuse me, could you help me?" Then you can ask, "Do you have this shirt in a larger size?" Or, "Can I try this on?" Repeat both questions. Do you have this shirt in a larger size? Can I try this on? Imagine that the employee asks, "What size do you need?" You can answer, "I usually wear a medium, but this shirt feels a little tight." If you want another color, say, "Do you have it in black?" If you want to know the cost, ask, "How much is it?" Or, "How much does it cost?" Both questions are common and correct. Now, listen to this short shopping situation. "Excuse me, do you have these shoes in size 8? Let me check for you. Would you like the black pair or the brown pair?" "I prefer the black pair. Can I try them on?" "Of course. Please take a seat." "Thank you. They feel comfortable. How much are they?" "They are $60. Now answer these questions. What size does the customer need? Size 8. Which color does the customer prefer? The black pair. How much do the shoes cost? They cost $60. Now, create your own version of that conversation. Imagine that you want to buy a jacket. Ask about the size, color, price, and fitting room. You can say, "Excuse me, do you have this jacket in a medium?" Then continue, "Is it available in dark blue?" After that, ask, "Where is the fitting room?" Finally, say, "It fits well. How much does it cost?" Repeat the complete sequence in your own voice. Let us move to ordering food. Imagine that you are at a cafe in New York City. The server says, "Hello, what would you like?" A natural response is, "I'd like a chicken sandwich and a cup of coffee, please." The expression "I'd like" means "I would like," and it sounds polite. Repeat, "I'd like a chicken sandwich and a cup of coffee, please." If you need to change something in your order, you can say, "Could I have the sandwich without onions?" If you want something extra, say, "Could I get some extra sauce, please?" If you are not ready to order, say, "Could I have another minute, please?" These phrases are useful because they are polite, clear, and common in real conversations. Now, listen carefully. Good afternoon. Are you ready to order? Yes, I'd like the vegetable soup and the grilled chicken. Would you like rice or mashed potatoes with the chicken? I'll have the mashed potatoes, please. And what would you like to drink? Just iced tea for now, thank you. Now, answer. What does the customer order first? The vegetable soup. What comes with the grilled chicken? The customer chooses mashed potatoes. What does the customer drink? Iced tea. Now, imagine that your food arrives, but there is a problem. You ordered mashed potatoes, but the server brought French fries. How can you explain the problem politely? You can say, "Excuse me, I think there may be a mistake. I ordered mashed potatoes, but this comes with French fries." Repeat, "Excuse me, I think there may be a mistake. I ordered mashed potatoes, but this comes with French fries." This sounds calm and respectful. It explains the problem without being rude. Now, you will speak for a little longer. Describe your favorite meal. Tell me what it is, what ingredients it contains, when you usually eat it, and why you like it. Try to speak for at least 5 sentences. Here is a model response. My favorite meal is a grilled cheeseburger with roasted potatoes. The burger is made with beef, cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and a soft bun. My family usually prepares it during weekend cookouts. I love the smoky flavor and the fresh vegetables. I also enjoy eating it with a salad and a glass of lemonade. Let us check your progress. So far, you have practiced introducing yourself, discussing routines, talking about preferences, describing your home, shopping, and ordering food. These are beginner-level topics, but your answers should not remain too short. A learner may answer, "I like coffee," but a stronger speaker says, "I like coffee because it helps me feel awake, and I usually drink it in the morning." Each time you answer, try to add one detail and one reason. Here is your final speaking challenge. Imagine that you meet a new classmate or coworker during a lunch break. Introduce yourself and talk about your hometown, routine, hobbies, home, and favorite food. Then ask that person 2 questions. Try to speak continuously for 1 full minute. You can begin like this. Hi, my name is Sam, and I'm from Austin, but I currently live in Dallas. I usually start my day early because I work at a local office. In my free time, I enjoy reading and playing basketball with my friends. I live in a small apartment near my workplace. My favorite food is grilled chicken because it is simple and healthy. What do you like to do in your free time, and what is your favorite meal? Now, create your own version and say it aloud. Do not worry if you pause or forget a word. A pause does not mean that you have failed. Take a breath, use a simpler word, and continue. Fluency is not the ability to speak without ever stopping. Fluency is the ability to communicate your ideas and keep moving forward. Practice these questions again whenever you need to, and each time. Try to make your answers a little clearer, longer, and more natural. Now, let us move beyond short beginner answers and begin building stronger everyday speaking skills. At this level, you should try to connect ideas, explain reasons, describe situations, and respond more naturally. You do not need advanced vocabulary yet. You simply need to make your answers clearer, longer, and more organized. I will continue asking questions, giving you time to respond, and then sharing model answers that you can repeat or adapt. Let us begin with your weekday schedule. What do you usually do after you leave home in the morning? Think about how you travel, where you go, and what happens first. A simple answer might be, I drive to work. A stronger answer could be, I usually drive to work, and the trip takes about 20 minutes. An even more complete answer is, I usually leave home at 8 o'clock and drive to work. The trip takes about 20 minutes, but it can take longer when traffic is heavy. Repeat that answer slowly. I usually leave home at 8 o'clock and drive to work. The trip takes about 20 minutes, but it can take longer when traffic is heavy. Now, make the answer true for you. You might take a bus, ride a train, walk, or work from home. Say where you go, how you travel, and how long it takes. For example, I take the subway to my office in downtown Boston. It usually takes about 30 minutes, and I listen to music during the ride. Another answer could be, I work from home, so I do not have to commute. I usually begin working at 9 after I make a cup of coffee. Your answer should reflect your real life. Now, listen to this short description. Jason lives in a suburb outside Atlanta. He works at a hotel downtown, so he leaves home at 7:15 every morning. First, he drives to a train station near his neighborhood. Then he takes the train into the city. His complete commute usually takes 45 minutes. Now, answer the questions aloud. Where does Jason live? He lives in a suburb outside Atlanta. Where does he work? He works at a hotel downtown. How does he travel into the city? He drives to a station and then takes the train. How long does his commute take? It usually takes 45 minutes. Now, summarize Jason's routine without repeating every sentence exactly. You could say, Jason lives near Atlanta and works at a downtown hotel. Each morning, he drives to a local train station and continues his trip by train. It takes him about 45 minutes to reach work. Notice how the summary combines the important information into fewer sentences. Let us practice talking about work or school. What do you do? This common question usually means, what is your job? Or, what do you study? A basic answer is, I am a teacher, I work in a store, or I am a college student. A more useful answer adds responsibilities. You can say, I work at a medical office, and I help patients schedule appointments. Or, I am studying business at a community college in California. Now, answer the question in your own words. What do you do? What do you like about your work or studies? Give a reason and an example. A model answer could be, I enjoy my job because I meet many different people. I also like solving problems and helping customers find what they need. A student might say, I enjoy studying computer science because I like understanding how technology works. My favorite classes involve practical projects. Try to speak for 3 or 4 sentences. Now, think about one difficulty in your work or studies. How would you explain it? You could say, the most difficult part of my job is managing several tasks at the same time. On busy days, I have to answer phone calls, respond to emails, and help customers in person. Another answer might be, the hardest part of college is keeping up with deadlines. I have several assignments each week, so I need to plan my time carefully. Now, describe one challenge from your own life. Let us practice a workplace conversation. Listen first. Good morning, Rachel. Do you have a minute? Sure, what do you need? I'm having trouble with this report. Could you show me how to organize the last section? Of course. Let's look at it together. Thank you. I wasn't sure which information to include. No problem. I'll explain it step by step. Now, repeat the useful phrases. Do you have a minute? I'm having trouble with this report. Could you show me how to organize the last section? Let's look at it together. I'll explain it step by step. Imagine that you need help from a coworker or classmate. Explain the problem politely. You can say, excuse me, could you help me with this assignment? Or, I'm not sure how to use this program. Could you show me what to do? If the other person helps you, respond with, thank you. I really appreciate it. Repeat, thank you. I really appreciate it. This sounds warmer and more natural than simply saying, thanks. Now, let us practice talking about responsibilities. What do you have to do today? Use have to for necessary tasks. You can say, I have to finish a report. I have to buy groceries. Or, I have to call my dentist. Make a list in complete sentences. For example, today, I have to answer several emails, attend an afternoon meeting, and stop at the grocery store on my way home. Now, say 3 things you have to do today. What do you not have to do today? This means something is not necessary. You might say, I don't have to cook tonight because we have leftovers. Or, I don't have to drive to work because I'm working from home. Be careful with the meaning. I don't have to go means going is not necessary. It does not mean that going is forbidden. Now, tell me what you should do today. Should is often used for advice or something you believe is a good idea. You could say, I should exercise after work. I should go to bed earlier. Or, I should spend less time on my phone. Compare these sentences. I have to finish this report means it is necessary. I should finish this report means it is a good idea, but the feeling of obligation is weaker. Let us move to errands and appointments. Imagine that you need to call a dental office. Listen to this example. Good morning, Green Street Dental. How may I help you? Hello, I'd like to schedule an appointment for a cleaning. Are you available next Tuesday at 10:30? I'm afraid I'm working then. Do you have anything available in the afternoon? Yes. We have an opening at 3. That works for me. Thank you. Now, answer these questions. Why is the person calling? To schedule a dental cleaning. Why can't the person come at 10:30? Because the person is working. What time is the final appointment? 3 o'clock. Now, imagine that you must change an appointment. You can say, Hello, I'm calling because I need to reschedule my appointment. Repeat. I'm calling because I need to reschedule my appointment. Then explain the current appointment and ask about another day. My appointment is scheduled for Friday morning, but something has come up. Is there anything available next Monday? The phrase something has come up means an unexpected situation has happened. Practice the complete call aloud. Hello, my name is Megan Carter. I have an appointment scheduled for Thursday at 2, but I need to reschedule it. Do you have any openings on Friday morning? Now, answer as the receptionist. You might say, Yes, we have an opening at 9:30. Would that work for you? Then complete the conversation. Yes, that would be perfect. Thank you for your help. Let us practice asking for directions. Imagine that you are visiting Washington, D.C., and you need to find a museum. What can you say? Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the museum? Repeat, excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the museum? You can also ask, is it within walking distance? Or, how long does it take to get there? Listen to these directions. Walk straight for 2 blocks and turn left at the traffic light. Continue past the bank, and you will see the museum on your right. It is across from a large park. Now, repeat the key directions. Walk straight for 2 blocks. Turn left at the traffic light. Continue past the bank. The museum is on your right. It is across from a large park. Now, test your listening. Where should you turn? You should turn left at the traffic light. What building should you pass? You should pass the bank. Where is the museum? It is on the right, across from a large park. Imagine that you did not understand part of the directions. Do not pretend that you understood. Ask for clarification. You can say, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? Or, did you say I should turn left at the traffic light? You can also say, could you explain that one more time, please? These phrases are extremely useful in real conversations, because asking for repetition is better than becoming lost. Now, give directions from your home to a nearby place. It could be a grocery store, coffee shop, park, or bus stop. Use words such as straight, turn, next to, across from, and on the corner. Speak for at least 4 sentences. Here is an example. Leave my apartment building and turn right. Walk straight for 1 block until you reach a traffic light. The grocery store is on the left, next to a pharmacy. The entrance is across from a small parking lot. Let us talk about plans. What are you doing this weekend? In everyday English, we often use the present continuous for arrangements. You can say, I'm meeting a friend on Saturday, or I'm visiting my parents this weekend. A longer answer could be, I'm meeting my cousin for lunch on Saturday, and on Sunday I'm staying home to relax. Now, describe your weekend plans. Imagine that a friend asks, Are you free Friday night? How can you answer? If you are available, say, Yes, I think so. What do you have in mind? This phrase asks what the other person is planning. If you are busy, you can say, I'm sorry, I already have plans Friday night. Are you free Saturday instead? A strong conversational response often offers another possibility. Listen to this conversation. Hey, Olivia, are you doing anything Saturday afternoon? I'm going to the farmer's market in the morning. But I'm free after lunch. Why? A few of us are going to see a movie at 3. Would you like to come? That sounds fun. Which movie are you seeing? We haven't decided yet. We're choosing between a comedy and an action movie. I'd prefer the comedy, but either one is fine. Now, answer. Where is Olivia going in the morning? She is going to the farmer's market. What time is the movie? 3 o'clock. What kind of movie does Olivia prefer? She prefers the comedy. Now, practice making an invitation. You can say, Would you like to get coffee after work? Or, A few friends are having a picnic on Sunday. Would you like to join us? Repeat both invitations. Now, practice accepting. I'd love to. What time should we meet? Practice declining politely. Thank you for inviting me, but I already have plans. Another natural response is, I can't make it this time, but maybe we can do something next week. Let us practice discussing the weather, because it is one of the most common topics in everyday conversation. What is the weather like today? You can say, It is sunny and warm. It is cold and windy. Or, It has been raining all morning. Add how the weather affects your plans. It is sunny and mild today, so I'm planning to take a walk after lunch. Or, It is raining heavily, so I think I'll stay home. Listen to this weather report. The morning will be cool and cloudy in Chicago. With temperatures around 52 degrees, rain is expected in the afternoon, and the wind will become stronger by evening. Drivers should be careful, because some roads may become slippery. Now, answer. What will the morning be like? Cool and cloudy. When is rain expected? In the afternoon. Why should drivers be careful? Because the roads may become slippery. Now, imagine that you had outdoor plans, but the weather changed. Explain the situation. A model answer is, We were planning to have a picnic in the park, but it started raining around noon. We decided to go to a cafe instead. It was not our original plan, but we still had a good time. Repeat the phrase, It was not our original plan, but we still had a good time. This is a useful way to describe an unexpected change positively. Let us move to past experiences. What did you do yesterday? Use past tense verbs and organize your answer in sequence. You could say, Yesterday I worked until 5. After work, I stopped at a grocery store and bought a few things for dinner. Then I went home, cooked pasta, and watched a movie. Now, describe your own day yesterday in at least 5 sentences. Be careful with common irregular verbs. We say, I went, not I good. We say, I bought, not I buyed. We say, I ate, not I eated. Listen and repeat. Yesterday, I went to the store. I bought some fruit. I ate dinner at 7. I saw an old friend. I came home late. Now, I will give you present tense sentences. Change them into the past aloud. I go to the gym after work. I went to the gym after work. I buy coffee on my way home. I bought coffee on my way home. I meet my friend for lunch. I met my friend for lunch. I take the bus downtown. I took the bus downtown. I have a busy morning. I had a busy morning. Now, listen to a short story. Last Saturday, Lauren planned to spend the morning at home. But her friend Nicole called and invited her to a street fair in downtown Nashville. Lauren agreed, and they met near the main entrance at 11. They tried food from several local restaurants, listened to live music, and bought handmade candles. In the afternoon, it became very hot. So they stopped at a cafe for iced drinks. Lauren returned home around 6 and said it was one of the best Saturdays she had experienced in months. Answer these questions. What was Lauren's original plan? She planned to stay home. Who called her? Her friend Nicole. Where did they go? They went to a street fair in downtown Nashville. What did they buy? They bought handmade candles. Why did they stop at a cafe? Because the weather became very hot. What time did Lauren return home? Around 6. Now, retell the story in your own words. Do not worry about remembering every detail. Focus on the main events. You might say, Lauren expected to stay home on Saturday, but Nicole invited her to a street fair in Nashville. They enjoyed local food, music, and shopping. Later, they went to a cafe because the day became hot. Lauren got home in the early evening and felt very happy about the day. Let us now practice describing a problem. Think about a time when something did not go as planned. Maybe you missed a bus, lost an item, arrived late, or forgot an appointment. Describe what happened, how you felt, and what you did next. Here is a model answer. Last week, I missed an important bus because I left home too late. At first, I felt stressed because I had a morning appointment across town. I checked the schedule and realized another bus would arrive in 15 minutes. I called the office, explained that I might be late, and arrived only 10 minutes after my scheduled time. Notice the structure. First, explain the problem. Next, describe your reaction. Then explain the solution. This structure helps you tell a clear story. Try it now with a situation from your own life. Begin with, a few days ago, something unexpected happened. Continue for at least 5 sentences. Now, let us practice a common customer service situation. Imagine that you bought a small appliance, but it does not work. Listen to the conversation. Hello, how can I help you? I'd like to return this coffee maker. I bought it 3 days ago, but it does not turn on. Do you have the receipt? Yes, I have it right here. Would you like a replacement or a refund? I'd prefer a refund. Please. No problem. I'll process that for you. Now, answer. What item is being returned? A coffee maker. When was it purchased? 3 days ago. What is wrong with it? It does not turn on. Does the customer want a replacement? No. The customer prefers a refund. Now, practice explaining a product problem. You might say, I bought these headphones yesterday, but the sound only works on one side. Or, I ordered this shirt online, but the wrong size was delivered. Follow the explanation with a request. Could I exchange it for another one? Or, I'd like to request a refund. Keep your tone calm and polite. Let us practice speaking more naturally when you are uncertain. Native speakers often use phrases such as, I think, I'm not sure, probably, and it depends. Imagine someone asks, What is the best way to travel around Los Angeles? You might answer, I think renting a car is probably the easiest option, but it depends on where you are staying. This sounds more balanced than giving an overly certain answer. Answer this question using uncertain language. Do you think people will work from home more often in the future? A model answer is, I think remote work will probably remain common, especially in jobs that only require a computer. However, it depends on the company and the type of work. Now, answer this question. Is it better to live in a large city or a small town? Use I think, in my opinion. Or, it depends. Let us finish this part with a longer speaking challenge. Imagine that a new friend asks you to describe a typical week in your life. Talk about your work or studies, commute, responsibilities, appointments, errands, free time plans, and one recent problem you solved. Try to speak continuously for 2 minutes. You may organize your answer like this. During the week, I usually wake up around 6:30 and leave home by 7:45. I work at a small office near downtown Denver, and my commute takes about 30 minutes. Most of my day is spent answering emails, helping customers, and attending meetings. After work, I sometimes go to the gym or stop at the grocery store. This week, I also have a dental appointment on Thursday afternoon. On Friday night, I'm meeting 2 friends for dinner. A few days ago, my car would not start, so I called a roadside service and took a bus to work. It was stressful, but I managed to arrive on time. Now, create your own answer. Do not try to copy the model word for word. Use your real schedule and your real experiences. Focus on speaking clearly and connecting each idea to the next. Use expressions such as usually, after that, however, because, so, last week, and this weekend. These words will help your answer sound organized. As your English improves, challenge yourself to move from one-sentence answers to connected responses. Instead of saying, I work in an office, add what you do there. Instead of saying, I went shopping, explain what you bought and why. Instead of saying, the day was difficult, describe the problem and the solution. The more details you add, the more control you develop over your English. Keep your sentences manageable. Speak at a steady pace, and remember that clear communication is more important than using complicated words. Now, let us raise the difficulty again. At this stage, you should be able to do more than describe simple routines or past events. You should begin expressing opinions, comparing choices, explaining decisions, handling misunderstandings, and discussing situations in greater detail. Your goal is to sound organized and natural, even when the topic becomes more challenging. Continue answering aloud before you listen to each model response. Let us begin with decision-making. Imagine that you have been offered 2 jobs. One job pays more, but it requires a long commute. The other job pays less, but it is close to your home and offers flexible hours. Which job would you choose, and why? Take a moment to organize your answer. A strong response could be, I would probably choose the job closer to home, even though the salary is lower. A long commute can be tiring and expensive, and flexible hours would give me more control over my daily schedule. However, I would also consider the difference in salary before making a final decision. Notice how this answer presents a choice, gives several reasons, and acknowledges another factor. Try answering again using expressions such as, I would probably, even though, however, and before making a final decision. These phrases help you sound thoughtful rather than giving a very simple answer. Now, consider another situation. You want to move to a new city. You can choose between New York City and a smaller city such as Madison, Wisconsin. What factors would influence your decision? You could discuss cost of living, job opportunities, transportation, weather, family, and lifestyle. A model response might be, I would compare the cost of housing, the job market, and the type of lifestyle each city offers. New York has more entertainment and career opportunities, but it is also much more expensive and crowded. Madison would probably feel calmer and more affordable. My final decision would depend on my career goals and the kind of environment I wanted. Now, answer a related question. Do you prefer living in a busy city or a quiet town? Explain your preference in at least 5 sentences. You may say, I prefer living in a medium-sized city because it offers a balance between convenience and comfort. I like having access to restaurants, stores, and public transportation. At the same time, I do not want to deal with extremely heavy traffic every day. A smaller city can provide more space and a slower pace of life. For me, balance is more important than excitement. Let us practice comparing 2 everyday options. Which is better for learning, studying alone, or studying with other people? A balanced answer could be, studying alone is useful when I need quiet time to focus, while studying with others is helpful when I want to exchange ideas. Group study can make difficult topics easier to understand, but it can also become distracting. I think the best approach is to use both methods depending on the task. Repeat the phrase, the best approach is to use both methods depending on the task. Now, give your own answer, and include one advantage and one disadvantage of each option. Try not to use the word good too many times. Instead, use words such as effective, useful, convenient, motivating, distracting, challenging, or practical. Let us move to explaining opinions. Listen to this question. Do you think people spend too much time on their phones? A simple answer is, yes, I think so. A stronger answer explains the problem, gives an example, and suggests a solution. For example, yes, I think many people spend more time on their phones than they realize. It is common to see families sitting together while everyone is looking at a separate screen. Phones are useful, but constant notifications can interrupt conversations and reduce concentration. One possible solution is to set specific times when phones are put away. Now, speak for 1 minute about your own phone habits. How often do you check your phone? What do you use it for? Is there anything you would like to change? A model answer could be, I use my phone throughout the day for messages, maps, news, and work-related communication. I probably check it more often than necessary, especially when I am waiting for something. I would like to reduce the time I spend scrolling through social media. Instead, I want to use that time for reading or exercising. Let us test your listening with a longer passage. Listen carefully for the main idea and supporting details. Several months ago, Rebecca decided to change the way she used technology in the evening. She noticed that she was checking emails and social media until the moment she went to sleep. As a result, she often felt restless and had difficulty falling asleep. She created a new rule for herself. After 9 o'clock, she would leave her phone in the kitchen and avoid using her laptop. During the first week, the habit felt uncomfortable. However, after a few weeks, she began reading more and sleeping better. She now says that the change has improved both her evenings and her mornings. Now, answer the questions. Why did Rebecca change her evening routine? She was using technology late at night and having trouble sleeping. Where does she leave her phone after 9? She leaves it in the kitchen. How did the new habit feel at first? It felt uncomfortable. What benefits did she notice later? She began reading more and sleeping better. Now, summarize the passage in 3 or 4 sentences. You might say, Rebecca realized that late-night technology use was affecting her sleep. She started leaving her phone outside the bedroom and stopped using her laptop after 9. Although the change was difficult at first, she eventually became more relaxed and developed healthier evening habits. Let us practice handling misunderstandings. Imagine that a coworker tells you, "The meeting has been moved to Thursday afternoon," but you are not sure whether the person said Tuesday or Thursday. What can you say? You can ask, "I'm sorry, did you say Tuesday or Thursday?" You can also say, "Just to make sure I understood correctly, the meeting is now on Thursday afternoon." Right? Repeat. Just to make sure I understood correctly, the meeting is now on Thursday afternoon, right? This phrase is useful because it confirms important information. You can use the same structure in many situations. Just to make sure I understood correctly, the appointment is at 2:30, right? Just to make sure I understood correctly, the package will arrive on Friday, right? Just to make sure I understood correctly, I need to bring 2 forms of identification, right? Now, imagine that someone misunderstands you. You said that you could finish a task by Friday afternoon, but your manager thinks you said Thursday afternoon. How could you correct the misunderstanding politely? You might say, "I'm sorry if I was unclear. I meant Friday afternoon, not Thursday." Another natural phrase is, "I may not have explained that clearly. What I meant was that the report would be ready by Friday." Repeat these correction phrases. "I'm sorry if I was unclear. I may not have explained that clearly. What I meant was..." These expressions help you correct information without sounding defensive or rude. Let us practice a full workplace situation. Listen first. "Emma, I thought you were sending the final schedule this morning. I'm sorry if there was a misunderstanding. I said I would send the draft this morning and the final schedule after the team meeting." "Oh, I see. I must have missed that detail." "No problem. I can send you the draft now, and I'll update it this afternoon." That would be helpful. Thank you for clarifying. Now, answer. What did Emma promise to send in the morning? The draft. When will she send the final schedule? After the team meeting, how does she solve the confusion? She explains the difference and offers to send the draft immediately. Now, create a similar explanation for this situation. You told a friend that dinner would begin at 7:30, but the friend arrived at 7. Say, "I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. I said dinner would begin at 7:30, but I understand how the time may have been confusing." Then offer a friendly response, such as, "You're early, but that's completely fine. Come in and make yourself comfortable." Let us move to giving advice. Imagine that a friend says, "I have been feeling exhausted because I work late every night." What advice would you give? You could say, "You should try to set a clear stopping time for work." It might also help to take short breaks during the day and avoid checking email before bed. If the problem continues, you may need to speak with your manager about your workload. Notice the different strength of these expressions. "You should" gives direct advice. "You might want to" sounds softer. "It might help to" introduces a suggestion gently. "You may need to" suggests that something could become necessary. Now, give advice for each situation. A friend is nervous about a job interview. You might say, "You should research the company and practice answering common questions." It might help to prepare a few examples of your experience. A coworker has difficulty managing time. You might want to create a daily priority list and turn off unnecessary notifications. A family member wants to improve physical fitness. It may be helpful to begin with short walks and gradually increase the amount of exercise. Now, think of a problem you have faced recently. Explain the problem and then give yourself advice as if you were advising another person. For example, "I have been putting off an important project because it feels overwhelming. I should divide it into smaller tasks and complete one section at a time." I also need to stop waiting for the perfect moment to begin. Let us practice hypothetical situations. Listen to this question. What would you do if you lost your wallet while traveling? A clear answer might be, first, I would check my pockets and bag carefully. Then I would return to the last place I remembered using the wallet. If I still could not find it, I would contact my bank, cancel my cards, and report the loss to the local police. This answer uses would because the situation is imaginary. Now, answer these questions aloud. What would you do if your flight were canceled? You might say, I would speak to the airline representative and ask about the next available flight. I would also check whether the airline could provide a hotel or meal voucher. What would you do if your phone stopped working during an important trip? I would look for a repair store or use a public computer to contact my family. I would also write down important addresses and phone numbers in case I needed them. What would you do if you received an unexpected day off from work? Give a longer and more personal answer. You could say, if I received an unexpected day off, I would probably sleep a little later and have a relaxed breakfast. After that, I might visit a park or meet a friend for lunch. I would try not to spend the entire day doing chores because I would want the day to feel like a real break. Let us move to describing people. Think of someone you respect. This could be a family member, teacher, coworker, or public figure. Describe the person's character, actions, and influence on you. Avoid only using simple adjectives such as nice or good. Try words such as dependable, patient, thoughtful, determined, generous, calm, honest, or encouraging. A model answer could be, one person I deeply respect is my former teacher, Mrs. Anderson. She was patient, organized, and genuinely interested in her students' progress. She never made anyone feel embarrassed for asking a question. Instead, she explained difficult ideas in several ways until everyone understood. Her teaching style showed me that confidence grows when people feel supported. Now, describe someone from your own life in at least 6 sentences. Include how you met, what the person is like, one example of the person's behavior, and what you have learned from that person. Let us test your ability to describe a change over time. How has your daily life changed during the past 5 years? You may discuss work, study, family, habits, technology, or personal goals. A strong answer could be, my daily life has become more organized over the past 5 years. I used to stay up late and begin my mornings without a clear plan. Now, I prepare a short schedule the night before and try to begin work earlier. I have also become more careful about how I spend my free time. Although I am busier than before, I feel more in control of my routine. Notice the expression used to. We use it for a past habit or situation that is no longer true. Repeat, I used to stay up late. I used to live in Phoenix. I used to drive to work every day. Now, create 3 true sentences about things you used to do but no longer do. You can contrast these with your present habits. I used to buy lunch every day, but now I bring food from home. I used to avoid speaking in meetings, but now I try to share at least one idea. I used to spend most weekends indoors, but now I often go hiking. Let us practice a longer story that includes a challenge and a lesson. Listen carefully. 2 years ago, Marcus moved from Cleveland to San Diego for a new job. He was excited about the opportunity, but the change was more difficult than he expected. He did not know anyone in the city, and his new position required him to learn several unfamiliar systems. During the first few weeks, he often felt lonely and overwhelmed. Instead of giving up, he joined a weekend running group and began asking his coworkers more questions. Gradually, he became more comfortable at work and developed several close friendships. Looking back, Marcus says that the experience taught him to be patient with himself during major changes. Now, answer the questions. Why did Marcus move to San Diego? He moved for a new job. What two difficulties did he face? He did not know anyone, and he had to learn unfamiliar systems at work. What actions did he take? He joined a running group and asked his coworkers more questions. What lesson did he learn? He learned to be patient with himself during major changes. Now, retell Marcus's story in your own words. Try to use the expressions "at first" instead of "gradually" and "looking back." A possible answer is, at first, Marcus found his move to San Diego stressful because both the city and the job were unfamiliar. Instead of leaving, he looked for ways to connect with people and improve at work. Gradually, his situation became easier. Looking back, he believes the experience helped him become more patient and adaptable. Now, think about a major change you have experienced. It could be starting a new job, moving, beginning college, learning a skill, or changing a routine. Explain what happened, how you felt at first, what difficulties you faced, and what you learned. Try to speak for 2 minutes. Let us now discuss money and budgeting in daily life. Imagine that your monthly expenses have increased and you need to save more. What changes could you make? A model answer could be, I would begin by reviewing my spending and separating necessary expenses from optional ones. I might prepare more meals at home, cancel subscriptions I rarely use, and limit unnecessary online shopping. I would also set a specific savings goal rather than simply trying to spend less. Now, answer this question. Is it better to save money for the future or spend money on meaningful experiences now? A balanced response might be, I believe both are important. Saving provides security and helps people prepare for emergencies, but meaningful experiences can improve quality of life. The best approach is probably to create a budget that includes both long-term savings and some money for travel, hobbies, or time with family. Use these expressions in your own response. On the one hand, on the other hand, and overall. For example, on the one hand, saving money creates stability. On the other hand, people should not postpone every enjoyable experience. Overall, I think careful planning makes it possible to do both. Let us practice a complaint in a more advanced way. Imagine that you booked a hotel room in Miami, but when you arrive, the room is not ready. Even though check-in time has passed, you can say, Hello, I have a reservation under the name Emily Parker. I understand that the hotel is busy, but the listed check-in time was 3 o'clock, and it is now 4:30. Could you please tell me when the room will be available? If the delay continues, you might add, I appreciate the explanation, but I have already been waiting for over an hour. Is there another room available? Or could you offer a place where I can work while I wait? Notice that the complaint remains calm, specific, and focused on a solution. Now, practice responding as the hotel employee. I apologize for the delay. Ms. Parker, your room is being cleaned now and should be ready within 20 minutes. In the meantime, you are welcome to use the business lounge, and we would like to offer you a complimentary breakfast tomorrow. A professional response acknowledges the problem, gives clear information, and offers compensation or assistance. Let us finish with a detailed speaking challenge. Imagine that you are speaking with someone who wants to understand your values and decision-making style. Discuss the kind of place you would like to live, the type of work environment you prefer, how you manage technology, how you deal with unexpected problems, and one important change you have experienced. Try to speak continuously for 3 minutes. You may begin like this. Ideally, I would like to live in a city that offers good job opportunities without feeling too crowded. I prefer a work environment where people communicate clearly and have some flexibility. I use technology every day, but I try to avoid checking my phone constantly. When an unexpected problem occurs, I usually stop, gather information, and consider several possible solutions. One major change in my life was moving to a new state for work. It was difficult at first, but it taught me how to adapt and become more independent. Now, create your own response. Give examples instead of making only general statements. If you say that you value flexibility, explain why. If you say that you handle problems calmly, describe a time when you did that. If you mention a major change, explain how it affected you. At this level, strong speaking is not about using the longest words possible. It is about showing connections between ideas. Use contrast, cause and effect, examples, and conclusions. Say, although the job was difficult, I learned a great deal. Say, because the commute was becoming expensive, I began working from home twice a week. Say, for example, I now prepare my schedule the night before. Say, overall, the experience made me more confident. Continue practicing these extended answers until you can express your ideas without depending on the model response. Your grammar does not need to be perfect for your communication to be effective. Focus on clarity, organization, and useful detail. When you lose a word, explain the idea in another way. When you make a mistake, correct it and continue. This ability to keep speaking, adjust your language, and complete your thought is one of the clearest signs that your English is becoming stronger. Now, let us move into the advanced stage of this speaking and listening practice. At this level, you should be able to explain complex ideas, support your opinions with examples, describe causes and consequences, compare different perspectives, and respond calmly when a situation is uncertain. Do not focus on sounding perfect. Focus on speaking clearly, organizing your ideas, and choosing language that accurately expresses what you mean. Let us begin with a question about success. What does success mean to you? Take a moment to think before you answer. Success can mean different things to different people. Some people connect it with money or career progress, while others connect it with happiness, freedom, family, health, or personal growth. A thoughtful answer could be, to me, success means creating a life that reflects my values. Financial stability is important, but I do not think money alone makes someone successful. I would also want enough time for my family, good health, and work that feels meaningful. In my opinion, real success involves both achievement and balance. Now, create your own response. Begin by defining success in one sentence, then explain 2 or 3 things that contribute to it. Finally, mention something that is often mistaken for success, but may not create lasting satisfaction. Try to speak for at least 1 minute. Let us make the question more challenging. Can a person be successful and still feel unhappy? Why or why not? A strong response might be, yes, I believe a person can appear successful and still feel deeply dissatisfied. Someone may have a respected career, a high income, and a comfortable home. But those achievements do not automatically create meaningful relationships or emotional well-being. External success can be measured easily, while personal satisfaction is more complicated. This is why people need to define success for themselves rather than simply following society's expectations. Notice the contrast between external success and personal satisfaction. Advanced speakers often explain an idea by separating it into different dimensions. You can use this technique with many subjects. For example, you might compare short-term comfort with long-term growth, individual freedom with social responsibility, or convenience with quality. Now, listen to this passage. For many years, Jonathan believed that professional achievement was the clearest measure of success. He accepted every new responsibility at work, stayed late almost every evening, and rarely used his vacation days. His career progressed quickly, but his personal life became increasingly limited. After missing an important family celebration, he began questioning whether his priorities reflected the life he actually wanted. He did not leave his career, but he made several changes. He began protecting his weekends, delegating more tasks, and making time for people outside work. Jonathan later explained that ambition was not the problem. The real problem was allowing one part of his life to control every other part. Now, answer the questions. What did Jonathan originally believe about success? He believed professional achievement was the clearest measure of it. How did he behave at work? He accepted many responsibilities, stayed late, and rarely took vacation. What event caused him to reconsider his priorities? He missed an important family celebration. Did he leave his career? No. He changed the way he managed it. What lesson did he learn? He learned that ambition becomes unhealthy when one part of life controls everything else. Now, summarize Jonathan's experience in your own words. Try to include the ideas of ambition, imbalance, reflection, and adjustment. You could say, Jonathan was highly ambitious and devoted nearly all his energy to his career. Although his work brought him professional progress, it gradually created an unhealthy imbalance in his life. Missing a family event forced him to reflect on his priorities. Instead of abandoning his goals, he adjusted his schedule and created clearer boundaries. Now, think about your own priorities. Which area of your life currently receives most of your attention? Is that balance healthy, or would you like to change it? Explain your answer honestly, and give one practical example of a change you could make. Let us now discuss whether failure is necessary for growth. Do people have to fail in order to improve? A balanced response could be, failure is not the only way to learn, but it can be one of the most powerful teachers. When a plan fails, people are often forced to examine their assumptions and identify weaknesses they previously ignored. However, failure only becomes useful when a person reflects on it and changes something. Repeating the same mistake without learning from it does not create growth. Now, describe a mistake that taught you something important. Explain what you expected to happen, what actually happened, why the result was disappointing, and what you changed afterward. A model response might be, several years ago, I agreed to complete too many projects at the same time. I believed I could manage everything if I simply worked longer hours. Instead, I became exhausted and missed an important deadline. The experience taught me that effort cannot replace realistic planning. Since then, I have become more careful about estimating how much time a task will require. Notice the phrase, I believed I could, followed by, instead. This structure is useful when explaining the difference between expectations and reality. Try using it now. I believed. Instead. Complete the idea with a real or imagined experience. Let us practice defending an opinion. Imagine someone says, people should always follow their passion when choosing a career. Do you agree completely, partly, or not at all? A nuanced answer could be, I partly agree, because genuine interest can make work more motivating and meaningful. However, passion should not be the only factor in a career decision. People also need to consider their skills, financial responsibilities, job availability, and long-term stability. In some cases, a person may develop passion after becoming competent at something rather than feeling passionate from the beginning. Now, express a different viewpoint. You might say, I strongly agree because people spend a large portion of their lives working, and doing something they care about can improve both motivation and performance. Or you might disagree and say, I do not think following passion is always realistic, especially when someone has immediate financial responsibilities. A practical job can still provide satisfaction, even if it was not a lifelong dream. Advanced speaking does not require you to choose the most popular opinion. It requires you to explain your reasoning carefully. Use expressions such as, to a certain extent. That may be true in some cases. The main issue is, a possible disadvantage is, and it depends largely on. Now, answer this question. Should employers allow flexible work schedules whenever possible? Include at least one benefit, one possible problem, and your final position. A model answer could be, to a certain extent, flexible schedules can improve productivity and employee satisfaction. People may be able to work during the hours when they are most focused, and they can manage family responsibilities more easily. However, flexibility can create communication problems if team members are rarely available at the same time. Overall, I support flexible schedules as long as clear expectations and shared meeting times are established. Let us move to a problem-solving situation. Imagine that you are leading a small team at work. A major project is due Friday, but on Wednesday morning, one team member becomes sick and another important file is accidentally deleted. What would you do? Organize your response in stages. First, identify the most urgent problem. Next, decide what can be recovered or reassigned, then communicate with the team and any manager or client affected by the delay. A strong answer might be, first, I would determine whether the deleted file could be restored from a backup or recovered through technical support. At the same time, I would review the sick employee's responsibilities and redistribute only the most essential tasks. I would call a short team meeting to clarify priorities and identify anything that could be postponed. If the deadline appeared unrealistic, I would inform the manager or client early rather than waiting until Friday. I would explain the situation, present a revised plan, and provide a specific completion time. Why is early communication important in this situation? Because people are usually more understanding when they receive clear information before a deadline is missed. Waiting until the last moment can make the problem appear unmanaged or hidden. Now, imagine that your manager says the deadline cannot change. How would you respond? You could say, I understand that the deadline is important, given the unexpected circumstances. We can still complete the most critical sections by Friday, but some less essential features may need to be delivered later. Would you prefer that we reduce the scope or bring in temporary support? This response does not simply say that the task is impossible. It offers realistic alternatives. Let us practice diplomatic disagreement. Imagine a coworker suggests removing an important quality check to save time. You disagree, but you want to remain professional. You might say, I understand why you are suggesting that, especially because the deadline is close. However, I am concerned that removing the quality check could create larger problems after delivery. Could we shorten the review instead of eliminating it completely? Repeat these useful expressions. I understand why you are suggesting that. However, I am concerned that. Could we consider another option? I see the advantage, but there may be a risk. Now, give a diplomatic response to this suggestion. Let us cancel the training session because everyone is busy. You could say, I understand that everyone has a heavy workload, but canceling the session may create more confusion later. Perhaps we could shorten it to 30 minutes or record it for anyone who cannot attend. Let us discuss technology and privacy. Do people give up too much personal information in exchange for convenience? Think about online shopping, social media, navigation apps, smart devices, and digital services. A strong response could be, yes, many people share a significant amount of personal information without fully understanding how it is collected or used. Digital services offer convenience, but users often accept lengthy terms without reading them. At the same time, complete privacy may be difficult to maintain in modern life. The more realistic goal is to make informed choices, limit unnecessary permissions, and use stronger security practices. Now, explain one way technology has improved your life, and one way it has made life more complicated. A model response is, technology has made communication faster and more accessible. I can work with people in different states without traveling. However, constant connectivity can create pressure to respond immediately, even outside normal working hours. The same technology that saves time can also make it harder to disconnect. Try to use the phrase, on balance. For example, on balance, I believe technology improves daily life, but people need clearer boundaries. Now, create your own conclusion using that phrase. Let us test your listening comprehension with a more complex passage. When the city of Riverbend introduced a mobile parking application, officials expected it to make downtown parking easier. Drivers could pay through their phones, extend parking time remotely, and receive reminders before a meter expired. Many residents appreciated the convenience, but some older adults and visitors found the system confusing. Others objected to the service fee added to every payment. In response, the city kept several traditional payment machines and created a telephone support line. The experience showed that introducing new technology is not only about efficiency, it also requires considering accessibility, cost, and the needs of people who may not be comfortable with digital tools. Now, answer the questions. What were the expected benefits of the application? Drivers could pay by phone, extend time remotely, and receive reminders. What two concerns did users raise? Some found the system confusing, and others disliked the additional fee. How did the city respond? It kept traditional machines and created telephone support. What broader lesson did the city learn? New technology must be evaluated for accessibility, cost, and different user needs. Now, summarize the passage and give your opinion. You might say, Riverbend introduced a parking application to improve convenience, but the city discovered that not everyone benefited equally. Some users struggled with the technology, while others objected to the extra cost. I think the city responded appropriately by keeping alternative payment methods. Digital systems should increase choice rather than remove access for people who cannot use them. Let us now discuss community responsibility. Should residents be expected to participate in improving their neighborhoods? You may consider volunteering, reporting problems, supporting local businesses, attending public meetings, or helping neighbors. A strong answer could be, local governments have formal responsibility for public services, but residents also influence the quality of a neighborhood. People can report safety concerns, maintain their property, support community programs, and help vulnerable neighbors. However, participation should not become an excuse for authorities to avoid essential duties. The most effective communities usually involve cooperation between residents and public institutions. Now, imagine that a vacant lot in your neighborhood has become filled with trash. What steps could the community take? You might say, residents could first identify who owns the property and report the issue to the city. They could document the condition, gather support from nearby households, and request cleanup or enforcement if permission were granted. Volunteers might organize a cleanup day and discuss turning the area into a community garden or small park. Let us practice making a persuasive request. Imagine you are speaking at a neighborhood meeting. You want the city to install a crosswalk near an elementary school. A persuasive statement might be, I would like the city to consider installing a marked crosswalk at the intersection of Oak Street and Pine Avenue. Many children cross there in the morning, but drivers often travel through the area quickly. A crosswalk, warning signs, and improved lighting could reduce the risk of an accident. This request is not only about convenience, it is about creating a safer route for students and families. Now, choose a community improvement and make your own persuasive request. State the problem, explain who is affected, suggest a realistic solution, and describe the expected benefit. Let us move to ethical decisions. Imagine that you discover a cashier has accidentally returned $20 too much change. What would you do? A straightforward answer is, I would return the extra money because it does not belong to me. An advanced answer could add reasoning. Even though the store may not notice the mistake immediately, the cashier could be held responsible for the missing amount. Returning the money would prevent an unfair consequence for another person. Now, consider a less obvious situation. A close friend asks you to recommend them for a job, but you do not believe they have the required skills. What would you do? A careful answer might be, I would avoid giving a dishonest recommendation because it could damage my credibility and create problems for the employer. However, I would not reject my friend without explanation. I would have a private conversation, describe the skills the position requires, and offer to help them prepare for a more suitable opportunity. What makes this situation difficult? It involves loyalty to a friend, honesty, professional responsibility, and the possibility of hurting someone's feelings. Advanced speaking often requires you to show why a decision is complicated rather than pretending there is only one simple factor. Now, practice the conversation. You might say, I value our friendship, so I want to be honest with you. I do not think I can recommend you for this particular position because it requires experience you have not had yet. I would be happy to help you strengthen your application or look for a role that better matches your current background. Let us discuss change in society. Do you think life is becoming easier or more stressful? Avoid answering only one side. You could say, in many ways, life has become easier because technology saves time. Information is widely available, and many services can be accessed from home. At the same time, people face constant information, rapid workplace changes, and pressure to remain available. As a result, modern life may be more convenient, but not necessarily more peaceful. Now, explain one area in which life has improved and one area in which it has become more difficult. Support each point with a specific example. For instance, healthcare information is easier to access, and patients can often schedule appointments online. However, deciding which information is reliable can be challenging, because inaccurate advice also spreads quickly. Let us practice predicting future changes. How do you think daily work will change during the next 10 years? You might discuss automation, remote work, new skills, shorter work weeks, or changes in office culture. A model answer could be, I expect routine tasks to become increasingly automated, which may allow employees to focus more on analysis, communication, and creative problem solving. Remote and hybrid work will probably remain common in some industries, although not every job can be performed from home. Workers may also need to update their skills more frequently because technology will continue changing job requirements. Now, use cautious prediction language. Instead of saying, this will definitely happen, say, this is likely to happen. We may see, it is possible that, or, I would not be surprised if, repeat, we may see more flexible schedules. It is possible that some jobs will disappear. I would not be surprised if new types of jobs were created. Now, answer this question. What is one future change you hope to see in American cities? You could discuss transportation, housing, parks, accessibility, energy, or public safety. Explain why the change matters and what obstacles may prevent it. Let us now practice speaking under pressure. Imagine you are asked an unexpected question in a meeting. Why did customer satisfaction decline last month? You do not have all the information. Instead of guessing, you could say, I do not have enough data to give a definite answer yet. But there are two possible factors we should examine. Response times increased during the second week, and we also introduced a new ordering system. I would like to review the customer comments before drawing a conclusion. This type of response is honest but still useful. It separates known facts from possible explanations. Repeat these phrases. I do not have enough information to give a definite answer. One possible explanation is, we should examine the data before drawing a conclusion. Now, answer this question carefully. Why are some people more productive in the morning while others work better at night? You may say, there are probably several factors, including sleep patterns, daily responsibilities, habits, and individual energy levels. I would avoid claiming that one schedule is better for everyone. The most effective schedule is usually the one that matches a person's natural concentration and practical obligations. Let us finish this stage with an extended advanced speaking challenge. Imagine you are being interviewed for a leadership position in a company. The interviewer asks you to describe your approach to success, failure, teamwork, technology, difficult decisions, and unexpected problems. Speak continuously for at least 4 minutes. You may organize your answer like this. Define success as reaching meaningful goals while maintaining professional integrity and personal balance. I do not expect every plan to succeed, so I try to treat failure as information rather than as a final judgment. In teamwork, I value clear responsibilities, honest communication, and respectful disagreement. Technology can improve efficiency, but it should support human judgment rather than replace it completely. When I face a difficult decision, I consider who will be affected, what risks are involved, and whether the choice is consistent with long-term goals. During unexpected problems, I focus first on gathering accurate information and identifying the most urgent priority. I then communicate clearly, offer realistic options, and adjust the plan as new information becomes available. Now, create your own answer. Include at least one example from work, school, family life, or a community situation. Do not simply list your values. Show how they influence your actions. Instead of saying, I am responsible, describe a time when you took responsibility. Instead of saying, I communicate well, explain how you handled a misunderstanding. Instead of saying, I solve problems, describe the steps you followed. At an advanced level, your speech should have direction. Begin with a clear point. Develop it with reasoning or evidence. Acknowledge another perspective when necessary, and end with a conclusion. You can use expressions such as, the central issue is, a key factor is, for instance, at the same time, from another perspective, as a result, and, ultimately. Practice this short structure aloud. The central issue is not whether technology is useful, it clearly is. The more important question is how people can use it without losing privacy, concentration, or personal connection. For instance, messaging tools allow teams to communicate quickly, but they can also create constant interruptions. Ultimately, technology should be managed intentionally rather than used automatically. Now, choose one topic from this stage and speak about it again without listening to the model answer. You may discuss success, failure, careers, privacy, community responsibility, ethical choices, social change, or future work. Give yourself 2 minutes. Begin with one clear statement. Add reasons and examples. Consider another viewpoint. Then finish with a conclusion. Listen to yourself as you speak. Are your ideas connected? Do you repeat the same words too often? Are your examples specific? Do you pause because you need to think? Or because you do not know how to organize the answer? These questions will help you identify your true speaking level. A learner may know many advanced words but still struggle to structure an answer. Another learner may use simple vocabulary but communicate complex ideas very effectively. Organization, clarity, and flexibility are essential parts of advanced speaking. When you cannot remember an exact word, describe it. If you forget the word crosswalk, you can say, the marked place where people walk across the street. If you forget deadline, you can say, the final time when the work must be completed. This strategy keeps communication moving and shows real control of the language. Continue challenging yourself to answer questions from different perspectives. Ask, what do I believe? Then ask, why might another person disagree? Finally, ask, what conclusion can include both sides? This approach will help you speak more thoughtfully in interviews, meetings, discussions, and everyday conversations. The purpose of advanced English is not to make simple ideas sound complicated. It is to express complicated ideas clearly. Speak with enough detail to make your meaning precise, but do not add unnecessary words. Use examples when they strengthen your point. Use cautious language when you are uncertain. Correct yourself naturally when necessary, and continue speaking without losing confidence. Now, we will bring everything together through a complete speaking and listening assessment. This final stage will help you notice how comfortably you can move between simple daily life English and more demanding advanced communication. Some questions will be easy, while others will require more explanation, organization, and reflection. Answer every question aloud before listening to the model response. Do not skip a question simply because it feels difficult. Even a short attempt will help you discover what you need to practice next. Begin with a simple personal question. How would you describe yourself to someone meeting you for the first time? Do not only give your name and occupation, mention your personality, daily life, interests, and one goal. A model answer could be, my name is Emma, and I would describe myself as calm, curious, and hardworking. I enjoy learning new things and having meaningful conversations with people. During the week, I spend most of my time working, but I also make time for reading, walking, and meeting friends. One of my current goals is to become more organized and use my time more effectively. Now, answer again, but this time avoid memorized expressions. Imagine that the listener genuinely wants to understand who you are. Include one personal strength and one area you are trying to improve. For example, one of my strengths is that I remain dependable during stressful situations. However, I sometimes spend too much time thinking before making a decision, so I am working on becoming more decisive. Let us test how well you can move between time periods. Describe what your life was like 5 years ago, what it is like now, and what you hope it will be like 5 years from now. Organize your answer carefully. You can begin with the past. 5 years ago, I was working at my first full-time job in Baltimore. I had less responsibility, but I was still trying to understand what kind of career I wanted. Then move to the present. Now, I have more experience and a clearer sense of direction. I manage larger projects and communicate with more people. Finally, discuss the future. 5 years from now, I hope to have a leadership position and a healthier balance between work and personal life. Now, create your own response. Use the expressions at that time, these days, and in the future. Try to speak for at least 2 minutes. Make sure your answer shows real change instead of simply listing 3 separate periods. Let us practice understanding attitude and emotion. Listen carefully to this statement. I suppose the trip was fine, but it was not exactly what I expected. Does the speaker sound completely satisfied? No. The words I suppose and not exactly what I expected suggest disappointment or uncertainty. Now, listen to another statement. The restaurant was busy, but the staff handled everything remarkably well. Does the speaker have a positive or negative opinion? The opinion is positive because the speaker praises how the staff managed the situation. Meaning does not only come from individual words, it also comes from tone, emphasis, and the way ideas are connected. Listen to these two sentences. The presentation was short, but informative. The presentation was informative, but short. The first sentence finishes with a positive point. The second finishes with a possible criticism. The final idea often receives more emphasis. Now, respond to this question. How was your last weekend? Try to show your true attitude through the language you choose. You might say, it was fairly relaxing, although I did not accomplish everything I had planned. Or, it was busier than expected, but I enjoyed spending time with my family. Notice that both answers include mixed feelings. Let us test your ability to make a polite request in different levels of formality. Imagine that you need someone to close a window. In an informal situation, you might say, "Could you close the window?" In a more formal situation, you could say, "Would you mind closing the window?" In a professional setting, you might say, "Would it be possible to close the window? The noise outside is making it difficult to hear." Now, imagine that you need a deadline extension from a manager. A weak request might be, "I need more time." A more effective request explains the situation and proposes a clear solution. You could say, "I would like to request a one-day extension on the report. The data from the regional office arrived later than expected, and I want to make sure the final analysis is accurate. I can submit the completed report by Thursday at noon." Now, create your own request. Explain what you need, why you need it, and when you can complete the task. Avoid making excuses or giving unnecessary details. Focus on responsibility and a practical solution. Let us practice refusing a request politely. Imagine that a coworker asks you to take responsibility for an extra project. But your current schedule is already full. You might say, "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I do not have enough availability to give the project the attention it requires. I could help review the final draft, but I would not be able to manage the entire project." This response refuses the main request while offering limited assistance. Now, practice saying no to a social invitation. "Thank you for inviting me. I already have plans that evening, but I would love to join you another time." Practice declining a last-minute favor. "I'm sorry, but I'm not able to help tonight. I need to finish something that is due tomorrow morning." Now, explain why polite refusal is sometimes necessary. A strong response could be, "Saying yes to every request may appear helpful, but it can create unrealistic expectations and reduce the quality of our work." A respectful refusal protects both our time and our relationships. The key is to be clear without being unnecessarily harsh. Let us move to an everyday emergency. Imagine that you are driving outside Denver when your car begins making a strange sound and suddenly loses power. What would you do? A complete answer could be, "I would turn on the hazard lights and carefully move the car to a safe location. I would avoid standing close to traffic and call roadside assistance. If the vehicle were blocking the road or creating immediate danger, I would contact emergency services. I would also notify anyone who was expecting me and explain that I might be delayed." Now, imagine that you are helping another driver whose car has stopped. What questions would you ask? You could say, "Are you okay? Is anyone injured? Have you called roadside assistance?" Do you have a safe place to wait? The first priority is personal safety, not the vehicle. Let us test listening through a detailed situation. On Monday morning, Claire was driving from Sacramento to a client meeting in San Francisco. About halfway through the trip, a warning light appeared on the dashboard. The car still seemed to be operating normally, but Claire decided not to ignore it. She exited the highway, parked at a gas station, and called her mechanic. After describing the symbol, she learned that the car might be overheating. She waited for the engine to cool and arranged for the vehicle to be inspected. Although she missed the first part of the meeting, her decision prevented more serious engine damage. Now answer the questions. Where was Claire traveling? She was traveling from Sacramento to San Francisco. Why did she leave the highway? A warning light appeared on the dashboard. Did the car immediately stop working? No. It still seemed to be operating normally. What did the mechanic suggest? The car might be overheating. What was the result of Claire's decision? She missed part of the meeting but prevented more serious damage. Now, summarize the story and explain whether you think Claire made the right choice. You might say, Claire noticed a warning light during an important trip and chose to stop instead of continuing to drive. Although the delay affected her meeting, the decision protected the vehicle and may have prevented a dangerous situation. I believe she made the responsible choice because ignoring a warning to save time could have caused a much larger problem. Let us practice responding to criticism. Imagine your manager says, "Your last presentation contained useful information, but the structure was difficult to follow. How could you respond professionally?" You might say, "Thank you for the feedback. I understand that the organization was not as clear as it should have been. For the next presentation, I will simplify the main sections and make the transitions more direct. Could you tell me which part felt most confusing?" This answer does not become defensive. It acknowledges the feedback, suggests improvement, and asks for specific information. Now, imagine that you disagree with part of the criticism. You could say, "I understand your concern about the length, and I agree that some sections could be shortened. However, I included the customer data because it directly supported the recommendation. I would be happy to discuss how to present that information more efficiently." Now, speak about a time when constructive criticism helped you improve. Describe the feedback, your first reaction, the change you made, and the result. A model answer could be, "Early in my career, a supervisor told me that my emails were too detailed. At first, I felt that every detail was necessary. After reviewing several messages, I realized that the main request was often difficult to find. I began using shorter paragraphs and placing the required action near the beginning. As a result, people responded more quickly and fewer misunderstandings occurred." Let us discuss confidence. What is the difference between confidence and arrogance? A thoughtful response might be, "Confidence is based on a realistic understanding of one's abilities. A confident person can express an opinion, make decisions, and accept feedback without needing to prove superiority. Arrogance often involves exaggerating ability, dismissing others, or refusing to recognize mistakes. Confidence allows room for learning, while arrogance often prevents it. Now, describe one situation in which you would like to speak more confidently. It might be a meeting, interview, social event, phone call, or public presentation. Explain what makes the situation difficult and what preparation could help you. You might say, "I would like to speak more confidently during large meetings. I often have useful ideas, but I hesitate because I worry that my explanation will not be clear." To improve, I could prepare 1 or 2 key points in advance and speak earlier instead of waiting for the perfect moment. Let us practice recovering when you make a speaking mistake. Imagine that you say, I have went there last week. You can correct yourself naturally by saying, "Sorry, I went there last week." You do not need to stop the entire conversation. Listen to another example. She works, sorry, she works at the hospital. Another one. The appointment is on Wednesday. Actually, I mean Thursday. Repeat these correction phrases. Sorry. What I meant was, let me say that again. Actually, I should say, I used the wrong word. Self-correction is a positive speaking skill because it shows that you are monitoring your language while continuing the conversation. Now, speak for 1 minute about your morning. When you notice a mistake, correct it calmly and keep going. Do not restart the whole answer. Your goal is to become comfortable adjusting your language in real time. Let us discuss habits and motivation. Why do people often fail to maintain new habits? A strong response could be, people often begin with goals that are too ambitious or too vague. They depend on motivation rather than creating a clear routine. When progress is slower than expected, they may assume the method is not working. Sustainable habits are usually easier to maintain when the action is specific, manageable, and connected to an existing routine. Give an example. Instead of deciding to exercise every day for an hour, someone might begin with a 15-minute walk after dinner 3 times a week. The smaller goal may appear less impressive, but it is more realistic and easier to repeat. Now, describe one habit you want to develop. Explain the purpose, the possible difficulty, and the system you could use. You might say, I want to read more consistently because it helps me learn and relax. My main difficulty is that I often use my phone during free moments. I could leave a book near my bed and read 10 pages before sleeping. Tracking the habit on a calendar might also help me remain consistent. Let us test how well you can discuss cause and effect. Why do some downtown areas lose local businesses? You might mention rising rent, changing customer habits, online shopping, construction, limited parking, or economic decline. A complete answer could be, local businesses may struggle when operating costs rise faster than customer spending. If rent increases, and fewer people visit the area, small stores may not have enough revenue to remain open. The loss of several businesses can then make the neighborhood less attractive, which causes even fewer customers to visit. This creates a cycle of decline. Now, suggest 2 possible solutions. You could say, city governments might offer temporary tax support or grants to qualifying small businesses. Communities can also organize events that bring more visitors to the area and encourage residents to shop locally. Let us discuss education. Should schools focus more on practical life skills? A balanced answer could be, traditional academic subjects remain essential, but students may also benefit from practical instruction in budgeting, communication, workplace behavior, digital safety, and basic health decisions. These skills can help young adults manage responsibilities more confidently. However, schools already have limited time, so practical topics should be integrated carefully rather than simply added without removing anything. Now, explain which practical skill you believe is most important and why. You could choose financial literacy, communication, time management, critical thinking, first aid, cooking, or another skill. Support your answer with a real-life example. Let us listen to another advanced passage. A public library in Columbus noticed that many job seekers were using library computers to complete applications but often needed more support. Some struggled to create resumes, while others had difficulty preparing for online interviews. The library introduced free weekly workshops led by volunteers from local businesses. Attendance was initially low because many residents did not know the program existed. After the library partnered with community centers and employment agencies, participation increased significantly. Within 6 months, hundreds of people had attended at least one workshop. The program did not guarantee employment, but it gave participants practical tools and greater confidence. Now, answer the questions. Why were job seekers using the library? They were using computers to complete job applications. What difficulties did some people face? They needed help with resumes and online interviews. Why was attendance low at first? Many residents did not know about the workshops. How did the library increase participation? It partnered with community centers and employment agencies. Did the program guarantee jobs? No, but it provided practical tools and confidence. Now, summarize the passage and identify the main lesson. You might say, the Columbus Library recognized that access to computers was not enough for many job seekers. It added practical workshops, but the program only became successful after the library improved community outreach. The main lesson is that a useful service has limited value when the intended audience does not know it exists. Let us practice proposing an improvement. Imagine that your local library wants to attract more adults. What program would you recommend? State the need, describe the program, explain how it would operate, and identify the expected result. For example, I would recommend an evening conversation program for adults who are learning English. Small groups could meet once a week with trained volunteers and discuss practical topics such as work, appointments, transportation, and community services. The program would provide a safe place to practice speaking and help participants become more confident in daily situations. Now, create your own proposal. You may suggest technology classes, career support, book clubs, financial workshops, activities for older adults, or family programs. Let us practice a complex comparison. Which is more valuable, natural talent or consistent effort? A nuanced answer might be, natural talent can give someone an early advantage, but consistent effort is usually more important over time. Talent without discipline may remain undeveloped, while a person with average ability can improve significantly through focused practice. However, effort also needs direction. Repeating an ineffective method for years does not guarantee progress. The strongest results often come from a combination of ability, strategy, feedback, and persistence. Now, apply this idea to English learning. You might say, some learners naturally recognize sounds or remember vocabulary quickly, but regular listening and speaking practice usually matter more in the long term. A learner who practices for 20 focused minutes every day may improve faster than someone who studies for several hours only once a month. Describe your current English practice honestly. What is working well? What is inconsistent? What change would produce the greatest improvement? Try to give specific answers rather than saying only, I need more practice. Let us now complete a rapid response challenge. Answer each question in 1 or 2 complete sentences. Do not pause for too long. What did you eat for your most recent meal? What is one task you need to complete this week? What is something you recently learned? Which American city would you like to visit? What is one habit you would like to change? What would you do with an unexpected free afternoon? What makes someone a dependable friend? What is one problem technology cannot solve? Now, answer the same questions again, but expand each answer with a reason, example, or consequence. This exercise demonstrates the difference between basic communication and developed speaking. At the beginner level, being understood is the main goal. At a higher level, you should also be able to explain, connect, clarify, and respond flexibly. Let us complete one final listening and speaking situation. After working remotely for 3 years, Natalie accepted a position that required her to return to an office 3 days a week. At first, she was frustrated by the commute and the loss of flexibility. However, she gradually noticed several benefits. Informal conversations with coworkers helped her solve problems more quickly, and separating home from work improved her ability to relax in the evening. She still preferred working from home for tasks requiring deep concentration, so she proposed a schedule in which employees could choose their office days based on team needs. Her manager agreed to test the arrangement for 2 months. Now, answer the questions. Why was Natalie frustrated at first? She disliked the commute and reduced flexibility. What benefits did she notice? Coworker conversations helped her solve problems, and the separation between home and work helped her relax. Why did she still value remote work? It supported tasks requiring deep concentration. What did she propose? A flexible schedule based on team needs. What did the manager decide? The manager agreed to test the arrangement for 2 months. Now, evaluate Natalie's proposal. Do you think it is practical? What conditions would make it successful? A strong response could be, the proposal seems practical because it combines individual flexibility with team coordination. It would be most successful if employees communicated their schedules clearly, attended important meetings, and remained available during shared working hours. The company should also evaluate performance and collaboration rather than assuming that one location is always more productive. Now, complete your final extended response. Imagine someone asks, how would you describe your current English speaking ability, and what do you need to do next? Speak for at least 3 minutes, begin with what you can already do, then discuss situations that still feel challenging. Explain the strategies you will use and the progress you hope to make. You may begin like this. At this point, I can understand many everyday questions and respond using complete sentences. I am comfortable talking about routines, preferences, past experiences, and basic plans. I can also express opinions, although I sometimes need extra time to organize more complex answers. My biggest challenge is speaking continuously when the topic is unfamiliar. I sometimes know the vocabulary but struggle to connect my ideas quickly. To improve, I plan to practice answering one extended question each day, record my responses, and listen for repeated mistakes. I will also review useful connecting expressions and practice paraphrasing when I forget a word. Now, create your own response. Be accurate rather than overly positive or negative. A useful self-assessment identifies both strengths and next steps. Do not say, "My English is terrible." That statement is too general and does not help you improve. Instead, say, "I can understand slow conversations, but I lose important details when people speak quickly." Do not say, "I am fluent now." Instead, explain what situations you can handle comfortably and which ones still require effort. Review your performance throughout this masterclass. At the beginner level, were you able to answer questions about your name, hometown, routine, home, food, and hobbies? At the next level, could you discuss work, appointments, plans, directions, weather, past experiences, and everyday problems? At the stronger intermediate level, could you compare options, give advice, handle misunderstandings, discuss changes, and explain decisions? At the advanced level, could you defend opinions, consider several perspectives, propose solutions, respond diplomatically, and organize longer answers? Your speaking level is not determined by one difficult question. It is shown by the range of situations you can manage consistently. You may be advanced when discussing your job, but less confident when talking about community issues. You may understand complex listening passages, but still hesitate during spontaneous speech. These differences are language ability develops unevenly, and focused practice can strengthen the weaker areas. Choose 3 exercises from this masterclass and repeat them during the next week. First, select one beginner topic and answer without preparation. Second, choose one past event and tell the story with a clear beginning, middle, and result. Third, choose one advanced opinion question and speak for 2 minutes while giving reasons, examples, and another perspective. Record each response when possible. Listen again and notice whether your sentences are complete, whether your ideas are connected, and whether your pronunciation remains clear. You do not need to remove every pause. Natural speakers pause while thinking. The goal is to reduce pauses caused by fear and replace them with useful thinking language. You can say, "That is an interesting question. Let me think about that for a moment." There are several ways to look at it. The first thing that comes to mind is, these expressions give you time while keeping control of the conversation. You should also notice the words you repeat too often. If you frequently say good, replace it when necessary with useful, enjoyable, effective, positive, impressive, reliable, or beneficial. If you often say bad, consider difficult, disappointing, harmful, inconvenient, ineffective, or unpleasant. Do not replace simple words only to sound advanced. Choose a more specific word when it improves accuracy. Continue practicing paraphrasing. If you cannot remember appointment, say, a scheduled time to meet someone. If you forget refund, say, the money returned after a purchase. If you forget commute, say, the regular trip between home and work. This skill is especially important because real conversations do not stop while you search for one perfect word. Finally, remember that strong English speaking combines several abilities. You need listening comprehension to understand the question. You need vocabulary and grammar to build a response. You need pronunciation so the listener can follow you. You need organization to connect ideas. You also need confidence to continue when the answer is not perfect. Every exercise you completed today strengthened one or more of these abilities. Your next goal should be specific. You might decide to speak for 2 minutes every morning. Practice one daily life situation each evening. Shadow 10 sentences from a listening lesson. Or record a weekly self-assessment. A clear routine is more effective than waiting until you feel motivated. Improvement becomes visible when practice is repeated consistently over time. As you continue, challenge yourself gradually. Begin with familiar questions, then add detail. Move from detail to explanation. Move from explanation to comparison. Move from comparison to opinion. Move from opinion to discussion. This gradual progression allows you to build fluency without becoming overwhelmed. When a question feels difficult, simplify it. Identify the main idea, give your position, add one reason, and provide one example. Then finish with a short conclusion. This structure can help you answer almost any speaking question clearly. You can say, I believe flexible work is useful. The main reason is that employees can manage their time more effectively. For example, people may avoid long commutes on days when they need to concentrate. Overall, flexibility works best when expectations are clear. Continue using English in real situations whenever possible. Speak aloud while preparing breakfast. Describe what you see during a walk. Summarize a phone call. Explain a problem before contacting customer service. Or give yourself directions while traveling. These small moments turn English from a subject you study into a skill you actively use. Your answers will not always sound smooth at first. You may repeat a word, change a sentence halfway through, or realize that your first explanation was unclear. Continue anyway. The ability to repair your speech and complete your message is part of real fluency. Every successful conversation is built from communication, not perfection. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end of this English listening and speaking masterclass. You have practiced English from the beginner level all the way to the advanced level, and you have challenged yourself with daily life questions, listening activities, speaking exercises, detailed answers, opinions, problem-solving situations, and longer discussions. Remember, your result today is not a final judgment of your English ability. It is simply a guide that can help you understand what you already do well and what you should practice next. If some exercises felt easy, that is a sign of progress. If some questions felt difficult, that is also useful because now you know which areas need more attention. Keep practicing aloud, repeat the exercises, record your answers, and try to speak in complete sentences every day. Even a few minutes of focused practice can help you become clearer, faster, and more confident over time. Now, tell me in the comments which level felt most comfortable for you: beginner, intermediate, upper intermediate, or advanced. Also share one speaking skill that you would like to improve next. If you enjoyed this lesson and found it helpful, please give the video a like. Subscribe to English in Minutes 2.0 and press the bell icon so you never miss our upcoming English learning videos. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep believing in your progress. I am Emma, and I will see you in the next lesson. Goodbye, and keep practicing your English every day.